retirement benefits and different kind of long-term benefits. So I will try to pick one out. Explain the pros and cons to the community for the long-term pension liability of CAL FIRE versus proposed standalone lifetime health care plan. And I think the people here probably understand that. Mr. Alfano.
So CAL FIRE has a unfunded liability of what? We don't know. They've never done an actuarial. It's in the hundreds of billions of dollars. We've done an unfunded liability actuarial here at $6.1 million. Okay, we did that because we were almost ready to close that account and pay it off. CAL FIRE has a 3 at 50. That means that they can retire as early as 50, 3% of their pay every year. That's unsustainable. The current contract we're looking at right now, we're going to look at 3 at 55, which is sustainable. And then the new firefighters that have never worked in the system before are going to take the state's brand new tier, which is 2.7 at 57 years old. So those two numbers are sustainable. We've looked at that. We're very responsible and looking at this. We want to be fiscally responsible to make sure that we don't have issues in the future. This has to be successful, and one of those issues is long-term pension liability. So we've addressed that in our new standalone agency proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Oliphant. Ms. Anderson, your thoughts on the pension liability long-term?
The pension liability that we have under CAL FIRE, I mean, you're talking apples and oranges, because we still have a huge liability that's left over from the old standalone department. We don't have a huge liability. CAL FIRE, that's a California state pension plan. That's California health plan. Has nothing to do with the fire district. Nothing. The only time we're going to incur debt is if we go back to the old standard. We've got the debt from the old standalone. Our grandchildren will be paying that off.
Thank you. Mr. Riddell.
Yeah, I don't know what else I could add to Mike's, except that part of our contract fees, we also have what they call an administration fee that they tack on to the price of the contract. And that this year is just under $700,000 that we pay this administrative fee. And part of that fee is we're paying for retirees in CAL FIRE right now. We're paying dental insurance, we're paying their health benefits, and we've been paying that since we signed the contract. We've paid, if my numbers, and I think they're conservative, but we can get accurate numbers, it's around $3 million we've paid so far to Sacramento. Nobody retired here. We're paying for retirees throughout the state. So it's like, what debt do you want? Yeah, we're going to incur debt, but we have that now. So, and we're paying it for people that never worked here 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute.
Thank you. Let's see, Mr. Cockrell, your thoughts on the long-term pension liability?
Yeah, long-term pension liability. Well, if we go back to our own department, I guess then we'll be on the hook for any long-term pension liability we have. That means you and me, folks, the taxpayers here, will be on the hook and you can see what's going on. We owe a pretty sizable bill right now, but we have chosen not to pay it, which is unfortunate. That's one of the beauties of CAL FIRE. It's cash and carry. They give us a not-to-exceed number every year, and so far every year they've been running an average of about $400,000 under that not-to-exceed number. At no time under the discussions with this new department have I heard a not-to-exceed number mentioned. In fact, every time I go to a meeting, the number seems to be going up because there's something else they decide to offer to, quote, to use a quote from Belleville, to incent people coming here. So apparently now we're going to have to bribe people to get them to come here even. So the long-term impact so far as CAL FIRE is concerned with pension, it doesn't exist. As long as we keep CAL FIRE, it's not an issue for us. When we go back alone, now folks, it'll be a big issue for us, and you and I are going to get to pay for it.
Thank you. And Mr. McCusick.
Well, okay, this is part of what I kind of look at as a numbers game that's being played with on the website of the fire district. That the there's an item called the unfunded pension and healthcare liability that relates to the employees from the old Half Moon Bay Fire Protection District. But this number seems to have disappeared from the last year's financial statement. And I'm not sure what they did. They quit paying it and just stopped talking about it, let it ride, I don't know. And this is the part that I find a little eerie. And that's why I like CAL FIRE. CAL FIRE is a much cleaner financial relationship. Each year we're done with our obligations. And the other problem is this, the new so-called local fire department. This has got a blimp of unknown.
Thank you. And now Mr. McIntosh.
Yeah, I've spent a long time on this PERS issue. Number one, CAL FIRE is a pay-as-you-go program. So that means we're liable for their liability supposedly as every year as it goes. The problem is that the state has not acknowledged its unfunded liability with PERS. Recently, Stanford has estimated that at over $500 billion. This year earlier, if you had looked at the Healthline, Orange County Register, or a number of others, you'll find all of a sudden that we've got a $63 billion unfunded liability with CAL FIRE for healthcare costs. Now, under the new program, we are talking about pre-funding healthcare so that when you retire, you get the money that you saved, not the money that has been promised. Under CAL FIRE, you get 100% of the 80%.
Thank you.
Sorry, it's a long subject and a minute is not time enough to touch it.
A minute is not very long, I have to agree with that. All right.